Welcome to the Bo Benson Show. If you like conspiracy theories, you like what's going on in the government, you like to learn about secret societies, you like to learn about Jehovah Witnesses, this is the perfect channel for you. Please subscribe and make a comment. Welcome to the Bo Benson Show. So if you plan on leaving the organization, I want to give you guys some simple tips and tricks that you guys can do and use to help you with that transition period. So one of the first things that you need to do is you need to evaluate how safe it is for you to get away. Because some of you are dependent on other people, you don't have any finances. You need to look into, finding a job. Like if you're a housewife, for an example, I would look into getting a job or getting a part-time job and getting some money together before you even consider telling your partner in case they decide they need to leave you. Now, you need to prepare for the fact that your culture, which is Jehovah Witnesses, which I'm just going to refer to as the organization from this point on, they're going to obviously do certain things to you that we all are aware of. So you have to prepare for spiritual warfare. You have to prepare for your society counter culture identity will be attacked. So they will make up any and every excuse why you're leaving the organization besides the real reasons you're leaving, because they can't accept the fact that the organization is wrong, and they will not accept that. So they're going to attack you as a person because they don't know what else to do. And you have to understand that they're brainwashed and that there is a personality and then there is the organization personality. And every member of a cult basically has a bipolar personality. This is the reason why you see so much mental illness within the organization, is because that is a common side effect of brainwashing when you're in a cult, is that you will form alternate personalities or will have some form of schizophrenia. So you have to understand that that is something that will happen to you, guaranteed that they're going to attack you. Now, what I would recommend is they're going to tell you that you will never have any friends and you're worthless and the whole world is evil. This is not true. There's an entire world of good people out there waiting for you. I would highly recommend that if you work or you have a job, you have a situation where you can make friendships outside the cult, I would do that. I would start creating friends and I would start joining Facebook pages like ex-Jehovah Witnesses and things of that nature, and form a support group for when you leave that can take the place of your family, because they will shun you. Now, the other thing that commonly goes on when you're dealing with the organization is they will use intimidation tactics. They're going to attack your character, and then especially if you're a woman, they're going to try to scare you and intimidate you. It's really, really, really important that you understand that the rules and policies that the organization has given you don't apply in the real world, and that they're scared of the real world, and that they will leave you alone if you use your rights against them. So for an example, a lot of elders will sneak up on you when you're at the grocery store, or they will pull up into your driveway, sit in your driveway, and then try to intimidate you. I've seen this. What I would recommend is, if you're one of those people that they're doing those high-level harassment techniques, is that you get a camera system and that you record it and that you give that information to the authorities. Now, what I would recommend is you could choose to tell them, hey, if you do this again, I'm going to report this. But what I would highly recommend you do is that you report it anyways, and that you let law enforcement tell them you will stop or you're going to be charged with harassment. Most of the time, the harassment, like showing up randomly at the grocery store to scare you and stuff, once the organization has been notified that legal matters have been taken against them for harassment, typically they will tell the elders and the people doing that to leave you alone. because they're scared of the bad publicity and then the lawsuits and then just them getting in trouble for doing what they're doing. So just understand that you have rights and that you can use your rights, and you should actually enforce your rights. Like when they walk up to you and then start telling you crazy, ridiculous things, like that you're a sinner and that you're a slut and this other crazy things that they like to say to people when you leave, what I would do, because everyone has a cell phone, is I would start recording them, and that I would put them on social media so that the society or your culture can see the crazy behavior that they're doing. Because when they realize that you're filming them, 99% of the time they want to run away because they want to attack you when they feel like that you can't do anything. But if people are going to see their behavior, they're embarrassed of their behavior and they're almost always going to immediately run away. That's why whenever you talk to a Jehovah Witness and you're recording them, they will stop talking to you and just walk away. It's because they don't want to be held accountable for the things that they say and do. They want to be able to say, I never did that. They want to be able to be in a position where they can lie. And if you take their ability to lie from them, because one of the common traits that you find out about the organization is compulsive lying is part of that second personality that they have, because all Jehovah's Witnesses have a personality defect. There is the true personality, and then there's the organization cult personality that they have. So the next really, really common tactic that you'll see with the organization is that a lot of the members want to use the idea that you are a sinner and that you just want to sin, and it's the moral high ground argument. So the organization doesn't have the right to use this because of their immoral behavior, obviously. But a lot of the members claim to not know the immoral behavior, but they do. So what you can do is when they say that, it's best to fight the moral argument and not allow them to use it as an abusive tactic. So they're going to say that you just want to be a sinner and to be immoral, and you're going to say something along the lines of, I'm sorry you feel that way, but from my perspective, the organization is immoral, and I want to separate myself from that immorality. And they're going to say, what are you talking about? And then you're going to bring up the issue that they have with protecting child molesters. It's the best argument. It's the one that's the most effective that I've found. And when they go, well, you don't have an issue, you're just making this up, you can just say, no, that's not true. I said, I'm aware of the Australia Royal Commission. And if you're talking to somebody who is an elder, then you can say, I am not very appreciative of the fact that you're trying to lie to my face. I said, it's very dishonest. And then you're going to say something along the lines is, also, you know that false prophecies are forbidden, and we should not be following people who believe in false prophecies. You do know that. It's in the Bible. I said, we didn't die in 1914. Armageddon didn't come, and it didn't come in 1975 either. So the organization has a history of making false prophecies. I said, and then you're calling those false prophecies new light. So not only are you lying and changing things and making false prophecies, but then you guys are actively not turning over people who are active and known child molesters. And I would tell them that you're aware of the court cases and that you're aware the organization has paid over $240 million to keep this information secret. And then say, I'm aware that Jeffrey Jackson was interviewed during the Australian Royal Commission. I'm also aware of the policies in the Elder's Handbook. So I would appreciate it if you would try not to lie to me and try to use this moral high ground argument when I know how immoral the organization is. And the organization, to me, is nothing more than men. You can choose to use them as a false idol, but I will not. You need to use their terminologies. You need to be straightforward with your arguments, and you need to not go too complex into it and keep it straightforward with good and evil, because they don't really understand high levels of complexity when you have discussions. Now, once you've done this and you've gotten stable, you have set up a network of friends, you know who's going to excommunicate you, and now you know who's not. Now, there's always going to be those witnesses that want to still reach out to you from time to time and then are going to ask you, why did you leave? What's the deal? And like I said, being truthful is the number one thing you should do. And you can tell them about the CSA issue that you talked to the elders about or whoever is arguing with you. But one of the things that you should bring up to their attention, and I would highly recommend, is you should talk about how you don't agree with or think it's right that they're using hypnotic techniques on its members and that is immoral to you. So the organization uses hypnotic techniques, and a lot of cults do, and this is very well known, and this is very well documented. So I'm just going to show you a brief reading for about 1 minute or so of some of these techniques and how they're used and why they use it, and then I'll talk exactly what Watchtower does after you hear it. So just so you guys know, so combating cult mind control. Like I said, I recommend that you find out about mind control. That will help you deal with understanding the mental and physical issues that you have around the organization and talking about it. So here we go.
In more familiar and easily accessible places, such as a hotel ballroom, environment, like an isolated country estate, but it can also be accomplished. Hypnotic processes constitute another powerful tool for unfreezing and sidestepping a person's defense mechanisms. One particularly effective hypnotic technique involves the deliberate use of confusion to induce a trance state. Confusion usually results whenever contradictory information is communicated congruently. For example, if a hypnotist says in an authoritative tone of voice, the more you try to understand what'll say, the result is a state of temporary confusion. If you read it over and over, the less you will never be able to understand it. Do you understand nonsensical? However, if a person is kept in a controlled environment again, you may conclude that the statement is simply contradictory in information. They will usually suspend their critical judgment and adar enough, and is repeatedly fed such disorienting language and conniving to what everyone else is doing. In such an environment, the tendency most people is to doubt themselves and defer to the group.
So now you have a general understanding. You know that the reason why you go to the congregation and it's so monotone, that is a technique. The reason they talk to you like a child, that too is a technique. They are trying to get a hold of your subconscious. When they talk to you like a child, like you're a toddler, which is a way their literature is written, it's to actually get a hold of your subconscious. And they want to, because when you are growing up, you have a toddler instincts or toddler subconscious mind, which is basically programmed to listen to adults because the adults will keep you safe. So they're trying to combat that inside an adult. So they're trying to put you in a childlike state in order to control you. The reason why it's so boring and you want to fall asleep all the time is because this is a hypnotic effect that their way of talking and speeches, which are written that way, are purposely designed to do. When someone falls asleep at the congregation, their subconscious becomes vulnerable. That's why the organization has people falling asleep during the meeting all the time. Everyone knows about it. Everyone's seen it. It's just a thing that goes on. If you ever visit other churches, you'll see that this is not a common thing, that this is almost completely unique to Jehovah's Witnesses. So like I said, using the CSA is the best one. Like I said, talking about the Australia Royal Commission, and then show them what the Elders Handbook is and what the governing body told these people to hide. And then ask them, if this is what you believe in and this is the right justified thing, how come you lie to people about this?
The matter was reported to you because you were in a position of responsibility?
Yes.
Did you take any notes?
No, I didn't.
Can you help us?
I may have done at the time, I'm sorry, but...
You may have done.
I may have, but
Where are they now?
They would have been destroyed.
Why?
We don't like to have any notes outside of what's kept on file in the congregation.
Why don't you like to have notes of a serious allegation?
There are brief notes kept in the file, but all other notes are destroyed.
Why is that?
I guess it's because we don't want them to fall into the wrong hands of other people to find them and they go through them.
What are the wrong hands?
Well, we don't want our wives knowing what our stuff, what sort of things we're dealing with. We don't want other people in the congregation coming across that information.
So you want to keep it secret to the elders, is that what it amounts to?
I don't know about secret, but we want to try and limit the amount of people that have to have a look at that information, yes.
And why is it that you want to limit the people who will have access to the information?
Just to protect them, I guess. And we don't...
Protect who?
Protect the person that's involved in it and the rest of the congregation so that they don't have to know these... I don't know, it's just the protocol that we've had in, so we just follow that information.
And would you do the same thing today if someone came and reported to you a serious allegation of sexual assault? Would you destroy any notes?
Yes, that's our practice. Well, we don't report it to the police. I think we encourage them to do that, but we give them the assistance to do that if they need that.
Now, of course, if you want a subject matter that's not so controversial, then just keep it really, really simple. Ask them, watched how we're printed, the generation that will not pass away, 1914. I said they're all dead now, so this is a false prediction no matter what you say or what the organization says. They said this generation would not die, 1914. They're dead now. How is this not a false prediction? You're saying new light, but new light doesn't mean anything to me. It's just men trying to correct their mistake because they lied. That's it. Did God lie to the organization and tell them that this generation would not pass? Or did men say that this generation would not pass? You want to keep simple dynamics that are putting them in a position where they have to choose between their belief in the Bible and their belief in the organization. The reason you're doing this when you're talking to these people is you want to show them there's a contradictory nature, that they don't have to believe in the organization, and because they believe in the organization, they can't believe in the Bible. You can believe in the Bible and not believe in the organization. You want to show them this contradictory belief system that they have, which is contradictory in nature, because that's what the organization wants. They want people to be confused, because a confused brain is an easy brain to control. You want hypnosis. You want somebody who is confused and doesn't understand what's going on. That's where hypnosis is most effective.
Well, we know that the scene of this world is changing, and we know Satan's coming after us. And he's going to go for us legally. We can see by the way things are shaping up. So the organization has said, we've run into difficulties in the past because of the records we have.
All right, so here is the most important thing. The reason I gave you all this information to argue your way with the organization, to help with harassment, and to set up, a support group is because this is what is most important. Of all the things that I said, there's nothing more important than what I'm about to say right now. Is that your life is your own, and you're going to choose what you want to do and what is meaningful for you. Don't let other people tell you what you need to be doing. You've been controlled and wasted a huge portion of your life. Don't waste a second more. Get out in the world. Go find out what you like and what hobbies you want to be into, and go and do that. If that's a job, that's fine. If it's politics, that's great. If it's activism, that's great. But do something that makes you feel good and that you're enjoying. If you need to leave Jehovah's Witnesses and never talk to them again, by all means go and do it. If you want to attack them and expose them and let everyone on the face of the planet know, by all means go and do it. If you want to find a career and just make money, by all means go and do it. If you want to go find somebody and have a relationship, go and do it. You should be taking care of yourself. You need to make sure that you're safe, that you're financially stable, and that people who want to abuse you, like ex-members, are not able to do so. You need to put safeguards up amongst yourself and let them know that communicating with you is a privilege that they can choose to have or not, and that they don't have the right to tell you what they want to tell you whenever they feel like it. They don't have a right to tell you and put you down and threaten you and scare you. They don't have those rights. You have all the power and all the cards. The best thing that you can do to teach them a lesson is live a good, clean, happy life. And when I say good, clean, happy life, I'm not telling you that you need to join a church or anything like that. I'm saying no drugs, no heavy drinking, nothing that's destructive. Live a good life and the best that you can. Go outdoors, go camping, make music, do whatever you want to do. Just don't do those things that are destructive. Don't fall into the trap of the organization. Don't get into alcohol. Don't get into drugs. Don't fornicate all the time. We don't want to do things that are going to be harmful to you, that they say that we all go and do, that I know and you know that we don't. Now, I'm not saying that you have to just choose to only be with somebody when you get married. That's up to you, but I'm saying we don't want to do things that are dangerous. You don't want to be getting STDs and things of that nature. That's a common trait to getting out of a cult, is they go to the extremes to something else. So you become, a slave to the watchtower, and then they go and do something crazy. That does happen, and that's a common problem with being in a cult, and that's why it's good for you to have a structure with good people. It's why it's good for you to set up, mechanisms to take care of yourself so you don't fall into traps or things like that. And the truth of the matter is you are probably going to have issues with depression for a long time. And those, in my opinion, will go away after you've been out for so long. You kind of just forget about this. It just becomes like a joke. Like when I think about the organization now, I know the CSA stuff is terrible and there's nothing joking about that. But the belief systems, the idiocies that they do are just kind of things that we laugh at now. That back in the day they had rules where I'm old enough to know that there was times where a woman was expected to wear a hat to show submission to her husband, giving a Bible study. Just really goofy, silly things like that we can sit around and laugh at. Or how they tell you that you don't need an education, and then the organization goes around and then sends documents saying, hey, if anyone who has an education, we need help with our lawsuits. It's just the hypocrisy and stupid stuff that they do that we can make fun of together. I honestly would not take them very serious. Unless they're doing something dangerous and harassing you, then get police involved. But for the most part, if you just tell them, hey, you know what? I don't believe in this stuff anymore. Guys, I know it's fake. I know it's false. I feel sorry for you. You put them in a position where you're telling them that you feel sorry for them and that you pity them. They usually don't want anything to do with you again because they realize that the game's over. You know the little stunt. You know the game book, and it's too late. So sorry guys, I got cut off there. But what I'm trying to say is, once they realize that you know the playbook that they have, and that they have no tools, no way to brainwash you, and you're not coming back, and that their little games don't work, they're going to leave you alone. I guarantee it. So, for an example, they knock on your door and they find out that you understand the Bible, that you know biblical history. I guarantee you, when a witness knocks on your door, they're going to be marking you down as do not return. Because if you have any education in any of these subject matters, they don't want to talk to you if you know things. They want to talk to people who are ignorant, and they want to talk to people who are gullible. That's their goal. They want gullible people to join their little teeny cult. But, come on, guys. They're dying, and they're dying fast. And I know it, and you know it, and they know it. All right, so I appreciate you guys listening if you got this far. Once again, make sure that you are financially safe and that you can get out there and you're not going to be on the streets before you do this. Prepare for your family to turn on you. Prepare for your culture to turn on you. Make friends that are not members of your church before you leave, so you have somebody or something, all right? Pick people who care about you, not people who talk to you just because you're in the same church. It's pretty simple. It's pretty easy. Find something or find a hobby that makes you happy that you can focus on and put positive energy into. Building models, making artwork, whatever that is that makes you happy. The whole point of this is to let you know your life is worth living. Don't let them control you anymore. You're beautiful. You're wonderful. and that they don't have the right to put you down or make you feel unwanted or unvaluable, because you are absolutely valuable to this community. They're jealous of how valuable you are, and that's the truth.